There is a capital city in Europe that was never meant to dominate. Not the largest city, not the richest, not the loudest. And yet, it governs one of the most stable countries on Earth. This is the story of a city that never competed to be a capital, and became one precisely because of that. This is the story of Bern. Bern sits on a narrow peninsula carved by the Aare River. Water surrounds it on three sides, forming a natural defensive barrier. In 1191, Duke Berchtold, the fifth of the House of Zähringen, chose this location to found a new city. Legend says he named it after the first animal he hunted there, a bear. But Bern's destiny was not shaped by legend. It was shaped by geography. The city was defensible, controllable, close to trade routes, yet protected. From the very beginning, Bern was not designed to rule an empire. It was designed to hold balance. For centuries, Switzerland was not a single unified state. It was a loose confederation of independent cantons, city-states, and mountain communities. Zurich grew wealthy through trade. Geneva became international and intellectual. Lucerne stood as a religious stronghold. But one thing was deliberately missing: a capital city. This was not a weakness, it was a choice. Because the Swiss understood something early on. When power gathers in one place, balance disappears. So decisions were decentralized. Meetings rotated between cities. No city was allowed to rise too far above the others. By the 19th century, Europe was in turmoil. Revolutions, civil wars, collapsing empires. Switzerland could not remain untouched. In 1847, a brief but decisive civil conflict erupted, the Sonderbund War. When it ended, Switzerland reached a conclusion. To survive, we must become a modern federal state. In 1848, a new constitution was adopted, and for the first time, a dangerous question was officially raised. Where should power be centered? The candidates were obvious. Zurich, the largest city, the economic engine, too powerful, too dominant, too threatening. Geneva, international, diplomatic, but too outward-facing, too detached from the country's internal balance. Lucerne, historically significant, religiously central, but politically divisive. And then there was Bern, moderate in size, politically neutral, quiet. Bern's greatest strength was simple. No one feared it. In 1848, the decision was made. Bern would become the center of the Swiss Confederation. But there was a catch. Officially, Bern was never labeled the capital. Instead, it was designated the federal city. This was no semantic accident. It was intentional design. Parliament sits in Bern. The federal government operates in Bern. But power itself is scattered. The central bank is in Zurich. Federal courts are spread across other cities. International institutions concentrate in Geneva. Authority was divided by design. Even after becoming the federal city, Bern refused to transform itself. No skyscrapers, no grand monuments to dominance, no forced modernization. Its medieval old town remained intact. Today, it stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Zeitglocke clock tower still marks time. The bear remains the city's symbol. Bern does not compete. Bern does not perform, because that was never its role. Bern teaches a quiet lesson. Sometimes the strongest leadership is the least visible. Sometimes the most powerful center is the one that distributes power. By choosing Bern, Switzerland chose stability over spectacle, balance over dominance, continuity over speed. And perhaps that is why it remains one of the most stable countries in the world. This was not just the story of a city, but the story of a philosophy. If you want to explore why other capitals were chosen, what crises shaped them, and how cities became symbols of power or restraint, this series will continue. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapter, and leave a comment with the capital you want explored next. Because sometimes, a city's story explains an entire nation,